Well, good afternoon, and welcome to Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm Xander Gibb, and on today's show, along with my co-host, Tyhe Egar, I will be breaking down this week's hotter topics and taking your calls to establish exactly what you think. And in part two, we will be speaking to comedian Will Noonan. So get your questions ready for Will Noonan. More to come in a mere moment. So you can interact with us during the show in the chat room at the bottom of the page. If you keep scrolling down, it will let you join in. Now, if it doesn't, it's because you have to join Blog Talk, go figure. But you can do that very easily with either a Facebook or Twitter account. So you can call us, as I said, on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Or on Twitter, you can tweet us. My Twitter handle is at XanderGibb, XanderGibb. Don't forget capital X, capital G, and the all-important @ symbol. Tyhe's Twitter handle is at Tyhe Egar, TYHE, capital T, capital P, capital E. And Will Noonan's Twitter handle is at Will Noonan, WILLNOONAN. Don't forget that @ symbol. If you tweet me or Tyhe, or even Will if you're too shy, and we will make your point for you. Oh, yes, we will. So in a week where a former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani questioned whether Obama loved America, Kim and Khloe Kardashian feuded even with Kanye's ex, Amber Rose, and I caught the man flu. Now the snow continues to fall and fall and fall some more. Why won't it just go away? So whilst I abhor anyone questioning how much a certain individual loves America or not, one has to be even slightly alarmed at our POTUS's behavior of late, meeting in secret with the Muslim Brotherhood, freeing Islamic terrorists in exchange for deserter Bo Bergdahl, and his odd efforts only to keep a small section of the undocumented residents in these United States, i.e. those with children. Now, one does have to question some of these actions. Now, whilst I'm not Giuliani's biggest fan, weren't we just a few weeks ago fighting and complaining about the individuals trying to limit the freedom of speech of others? Now, you might not agree with Rudy, and you probably don't, and that's fine. But surely in a country where we have freedom of speech, doesn't he have the right to his opinion too? Let us know what you think. Now, the Kardashians were not afraid to share their opinions this week as they sharpened their claws on Amber Rose, Kanye West's ex, and even the slimy even Kanye was getting in on the ex, saying he had to take 30 showers before getting with Kim after being with Amber Rose. Well, we haven't forgotten how Kim shot to fame Kanye. It wasn't due to her works of charity or saving the rainforest. Oh no, it was from a sex tape allegedly leaked and distributed by her own mother. People who live in glass whorehouses shouldn't throw their panties, Kim. So watch it. Now, as for me catching the man flu, and the debate continues whether the man flu actually exists, I am hoping to retire very soon to a tropical island and be served cocktails even. Sorry, that was I've got the wrong teeth in today. Cocktails even by a scantily clad islanders who live to adore me. So sue me as I overdose on my flu meds. So that was Xander's Soapbox for this week. If you'd like to come and get on your soapbox, please do give me a week off. You can email me at xander@xandergibb.com. That's xander@xandergibb.com. Oh, yes, indeed. So this week's show is sponsored by Computer Perfect, providers of Lightning, the #1 in point-of-sales service. You can check them out at www.computerperfect.com. That's www.computerperfect.com. Go check them out if you're looking for point-of-sale in the liquor industry. So joining me to break down the hotter topics, the issues that matter, is my good friend, co-host, broadcaster, writer, and fellow even spinster of the parish, the one, Mr. Only Mr. Tyhe Paul Egar. Hey Tyhe, how's it going?
Hello. Did you just call me a spinster of the parish?
I did indeed.
Oh,
I'm allowed to say it because I'm a spinster too. Hello to everybody in the chat room. Thanks for joining us. Kathy's saying the Kardashians are clowns. Oh yes, we do agree with that. Well, I do. I can't speak for Tyhe. How has your week been? Excuse me. And do you think the Kardashians are clowns?
Well, that's one. I think that's a polite thing for them, Kathy, actually, to say. But they just make me smile all the time. I was watching a trailer for their new show here earlier because I refuse to watch the show because I'm quite old and however many brain cells I have left, I'm quite determined to keep hold of. So watching the show, I don't think would be healthy really on any level. So I watch the trailers just so I kind of attempt to keep abreast of what's going on in their lives, because I'm sure on a vacuous level there isn't much going on. Apparently there's some kind of trauma happening.
We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But how's your week been? What have you been doing that's interesting? Anything that you've spotted out there that you feel is worthy of note?
Well, just things we're going to touch on anyway as well, aren't we, really? I think it's all about the show this week. I haven't, I have done, for those waiting for my book, I'm not going to lie to you, I have done no writing whatsoever, so you're just going to have to wait a bit longer, because I've been doing more research about things that concern you and I, really, I suppose, in the show, and also taking it easy because my brain's been melting. But I've been doing a lot more research about space, as in the universe, not as in space in my living room, which is also why my brain's been melting. So that's what I've been doing, and also talking to designers, because now I'm splitting my website. So the business is going to have a website. So Broken Flowers is going to have a website, and I'm going to have a TP Egar website, which is
absolutely. Have you secured your domain name yet? TPEgar.com, because you don't want someone to steal that.
Well, it'd be a bit pointless unless they were called TP Egar, really, wouldn't it? But I haven't decided yet that that's going to be the domain name. I haven't, so I don't know yet. Because Tyhe Paul Egar, everybody started calling me Tyhe Paul Egar, and as a writer and a performer, my name is TP Egar. But obviously, my name is Tyhe Paul Egar, but let's not go there. But so I don't know. So there you go. What do you think, people? Should it be Tyhe Paul Egar or TP Egar? Because it's very confusing to me now. I've lost control of my name. So,
doesn't that
so I
woman?
Don't know.
What's that woman called who wrote 50 Shades of Grey or whatever the hell? 50 Shades of Domestic Abuse. She uses initials, doesn't she?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people use initials. But I mean, the reason I used my initials wasn't to be hip or cool or attempt to be any of those things, but it's just because it shortened my name on paper. And originate, because I mean, people. I introduce myself to people now as Tyhe because nobody ever gets my first name right. So for years and years, I've just been known as Tyhe. But if you look at the spelling of my name, I mean, most people, I think, realise that maybe my name isn't pronounced Tyhe. Shouldn't be pronounced Tyhe. But so TP just became shorter, So that's why
I always thought it was short for Theophilus T. Egar. But I guess that's not the case either.
No.
But it will be good. It will be good when you get nominated for awards, because that will all be cemented by then, and they can say, and the Booker Prize goes to TP Egar.
Yeah. It'll be more like.
So talking of awards, well, you never know. You might be presenting one to me. You just never know. So talking of awards,
happy to do that, my darling. I'm sorry. Hang on, Joe. Can I just say, Joe's asking me how it should be pronounced. So, Joe, my name should be pronounced Tyhe. So it's Tyhe. So my name's Tyhe Paul Egar. There you go. Right. Sorry, Xander. Back to you.
It's absolutely fine. You carry on with your conversation with our guests in the chat. Well, it's the Oscars this weekend, and talking of awards by way of a segue, and I thought we'd actually just take a quick look at some of the segments. Now, I was talking to you earlier about this, and am I the only one that really doesn't want to know who was the best hairdresser on what movie, and who was the best dressmaker, and who was the best makeup artist? Now, is it just me, or do we really want to know that crap?
No, I don't think. Well, I don't think it's just you. I think unless you're a designer, then you don't really care, do you? I mean, occasionally, although oh God, this is going to sound really tragic, isn't it? Because I love my fantasy and sci-fi and horror. Okay, so these are my favourite genres at the movies. But I do tell people, listeners, you know this. I don't lie. I'm a very shallow human being. These are the favourite genres I go and watch at the movies, not 12 Years a Slave. So, although I have watched it anyway. But so I look at a costume and think, wow, that's amazing. But I then don't stay to watch the end credits to see who designed it, I have to say. So although I appreciate it whilst watching the movie, I could not care less, no. Although, yay you, if you win the award, it must be, great to win that award. But then to be fair, a lot of the time, I couldn't really care less who won the Oscar in the first, for the actor anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because I think they're all... this year, we're fairly sure who's going to win, and although they are stunning performances, they're not, in my opinion, the people who should be winning for the stories that are being told. But we're going to talk about that shortly as well, So the whole thing to me is a lot of BS anyway, and it's all politics and there are people. Somebody who's Jennifer Aniston's movie has been completely snubbed, hasn't it, this year? And from what I've seen, she's put a stunning performance in. So what's that about? I don't quite get that, So it all kind of leaves me cold.
Talking of snubbing, now there have been accusations made this year. We'll talk about this for a little bit before we go on to the categories. There has been accusations this year that the Oscars are racist because far more white actors and actresses were nominated than black/African American, whatever you want to call it, without being derogatory. Actors, do you feel that there's anything in this, or is it just another reason to put badness where it isn't? Because if someone is racist or some racism occurs, I'll be the first to challenge it. But I don't know whether not enough black people were actually cast in the films, or is it direct racism? What do you think?
Well, I think that's the problem, isn't it? Is when you look at the thing as a whole, is this racism, or is this, because where does it start from? Because there are a lot. There are amazing actors out there who are black, white, Asian. Except, oh God, you start worrying about these left people out of the list. But because I've noticed now, Oprah Winfrey is much more active in her acting career now, and I've always thought she's a brilliant actor. But you've always had people like Denzel Washington who've been around. But of course there are very few. How many black people have won Oscars? There are very, very few. Was it Whoopi Goldberg that made history? Wasn't she the first black woman to win an Oscar? Have I got that wrong? People in the chat room,
I think she's the first black. She's the first African American to have an Emmy, a Golden Globe, an Oscar, and a Tony.
Right. Okay. But I just remember the big deal about that. But if you think about it, certainly the huge, big leading roles, like action roles and dramatic roles, there are still white middle class as well, actually, I think, but white leading men far outweigh in number the number of leading black men, be it African American or not. I think that's irrelevant, whether they're African American descent or other Aboriginal descent. That there's still a huge disparate amount. Now, I don't know whether that's Hollywood racism or simply that the roles aren't being written for them on a different level. Do you know what I mean? I mean, is that sinister, or is it an offshoot? Sorry, is it kind of the backshoot from racism that they're still not writing these roles because of old prejudice? Do you know what I mean? Have we not caught up yet because of those old prejudice?
I would hope that that's not the case, but I wouldn't doubt that it is. It's just the same as any other minority. You know, some people will go out of their way to write a gay role in a production, but some people won't touch it with a barge pole. So there are, I think there are still these stigmas out there, but I think it's kind of ridiculous because we've had this conversation hundreds of times. You know, I've been for auditions, and I always get cast in the same thing as either the gay best friend, the gay uncle, the gay cousin, or something like that. But the whole ideology of acting is that you're pretending to be something else. And I think that to be typecast, obviously you can't be a black guy and play a white man, but that was disproved in that movie White Chicks. Those two black guys played two white girls, so everything is possible. It really is.
Yeah, but that was the Wayans brothers, wasn't it? But that, I mean, obviously was a huge spoof. But then there's a young gay actor over here. He's in Coronation Street at the minute. And I didn't know we were going to get into this conversation, or I would have Googled his name, so I apologise to you. He was a very, very handsome young man. But he actually deliberately only plays positive gay characters. And that's what he's chosen. He's an out gay actor, and he chooses to play gay characters, which I understand totally, because I think I'd be tempted to do that myself. Because if you think about it from that point of view, you and I as musicians, and we were talking to Colton about this the last time on the show, when he covered Yesterday on his Next Chapter EP, he chose to sing he rather than she in the Beatles track he covered Yesterday. And I said to him, kudos, and we both gave him respect for that. And you and I, we've discussed this about other musicians before, we would never change and sing she if we were singing a love song in the first person. So I suppose, from that point of view, where would you look at it? I wouldn't have a problem. It would, for the idea of me trying to play a straight character now would make me smile, because I just don't think I could pull it off. But I understand what you're saying. Of course, you should be able to. Why should a gay man only be able to play gay roles, and these roles should be there for black actors? Why can't a black man should? Where's there never been a black James Bond? Because it's the character, isn't it? 007. James Bond is simply the secret agent's role, isn't it? It's not the individual man. It's the cover, isn't it, that the agent hides under 007. The character, but it's the identity of that agent. So it's not the specific actor. So why have we never had a black 007? But for that matter,
but didn't they do a few years ago a female James Bond and called it Jane Bond, and it fell on its ass? It was just not very well received at all.
No, but I mean, think about it. Calling it Jane Bond for a start makes it sound like a spoof. And how many people knew about it, and how was it promoted? I mean, I certainly, if you said me, oh yeah, they're bringing a movie out called Jane Bond, I would be kind of, oh please, do me a favour. It sounds ridiculous. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They could promote that in a totally different way. I mean, how do they promote things, with female, with heroines, for want of a better, that is because this is the thing now as well. Actresses are actors now, and it's like, why does a woman have to lose her femininity? This is what I loved about what Sigourney Weaver did with Ripley. I think she was a real groundbreaker with Ripley. She had a character that could kick your ass but stayed feminine. And that's what I loved. One of the things I loved about Ripley, what Sigourney did with that character, and I think Demi Moore did that with a couple of her characters as well. It maintained femininity, but also was hard-assed, and so all these changes, people, you've got to change. I'm not an actress and I'm an actor. Well, why? Oh, because I don't want to differentiate. Well, that's absurd. You're a woman. So why, a black man or a white man, or I'm an African American, or I'm a white man. White people suddenly are afraid to say this or can't be this, and why are these roles not being produced for black actors or women? Why are these great roles, you know, heroine roles. Why is it not, you know, Die Hard 6? Why is it not Bruce Willis's ex-wife jumping off the aeroplane and saving the day? Do you know what I mean? It's all
right.
You know, Demi Moore disappeared, you know, faded into the distance. Why? Because she was a great actress. I was a big fan of Demi. I still am a big fan. But, you know, I mean, all these characters, all these roles suddenly faded away. It's not that these actors aren't out there who aren't capable of doing it. It's just the roles aren't being written for them. And as you and I have said before, you know, all these new TV shows are coming up, and they're all regurgitations of the same old rubbish, you know, or the remakes, or the series of old movies that were crap in the first place. And, you know, I mean, we're just getting the advertisement here for the series 12 Monkeys. Why? The movie was dreadful. It was lazy as well. You cannot have a time paradox, by the way, people, just before you tune in. It's not possible. But why, you know, these roles are just not being written. They're not, and I don't know, and I've kind of strayed, I know, but it's, but I'm not really, because I'll bring it back.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I've been watching the series, and you know I was quite excited about it. I'm not overly impressed. They made it too complicated to follow. And you know me, I'm a sci-fi freak. I love sci-fi, but this just made it so so difficult to follow. You know, it just didn't. I mean, I've continued to watch, but it's like 4 episodes in, and I'm bored already. And it has to grab me quickly and keep me, or I don't want to watch it again. You know, that's just me. That's the way that I am.
Yeah, but the original movie was the same. It was kind of, and also the idea that, you know, the jettisoning this poor bugger backwards and forwards in time, and he keeps coming back with more clues, and then finally at the end he finds out who it is, and oh no, we can't do it again, sorry, and it's all a paradox. I hate that kind of, it's lazy time travel writing like that. It's lazy writing, it's obvious writing, and it just bores me. But the whole premise of the series is like, well, what's the point? Because we've seen the movie. So what? And it's a shame, because I like the lead actor a lot. I liked him in Nikita and in other movies he's been in. And I know Nikita got axed, but then that was because the writing got really bad. But I just as soon as I saw the trailer for it was kind of like, oh my god, really? Seriously, this is the best you can come up with? It's just a shame, I think. But it's convoluted. The movie was convoluted, and the ending was just a huge cop out. The only good thing that came of the movie was it gave Brad Pitt a real platform to prove he could act. Because his character, he did an amazing job in that movie. And I think that's the only good thing that did come out of it, really.
Exactly. Shall we take a look at some of the nominations? I mean, I don't know which ones you've seen, because I looked at them and I thought, my gosh, I don't get out often enough. I really don't go to the movies. But the nominations for Best Picture are, I should be standing at a podium now in a red velvet dress, American Sniper, Birdman, Boyhood, The Grand Budapest Hotel, The Imitation Game, which we'll be talking about a bit later, Selma, The Theory of Everything, Whiplash. Did you see any of those?
Right. Well, I haven't yet, because they've only just been released. But, well, the second Grand Budapest Hotel is the Celia Imrie, Dame Judi Dench, and the cast of thousands. The first one was just a lovely sentimental movie, but it was great. The Theory of Everything, I have a horrible feeling he's going to snatch up the Oscar, because he has put a great performance in, but I think it's going to overshadow what's it called? The Turing story. The Imitation Game.
Yeah.
It's going to overshadow The Imitation Game, which is a shame, because that's really the story that should be the highlight of everything this year, and highlighting a lot of mistruths, you know, that have been going on. But anyway, I missed the Imitation Game, sadly, at the cinema here, due to work commitments. To be perfectly honest, I genuinely didn't have the time to get to the cinema, so I am eagerly awaiting the Blu-ray release of that. The Sniper, I mean, again, Bradley Cooper, brilliant actor. I think he's a very, very talented actor. But the guy's not long on trial, was he? I mean, what do you do about that? To me, that's a story about people. God, mental illness, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
They are not my kind of movies at all. I don't find it enjoyable watching that kind of truth occur. Certainly, although to make it very clear to anybody listening, the troops, both, the armed forces, both in America and here, yes, everybody's got their opinions. Mine is they have my greatest respect, and I support them when they come home. Unless, of course, they are war criminals, in which, of course, obviously I don't. But generally speaking, I support the troops here and in America. So I have no issue with that. It's just that I don't enjoy war movies. I don't enjoy watching people suffer on either side.
Me either.
I don't find it stimulating. This is why, by the way, I know Kathy was and George don't like horror movies, but I mean I like things like that because they are, it's fantasy. As far as that kind of violence, it's fantasy. It couldn't possibly happen, So before anybody says, "Oh, you watch horror," I also write it. But
or could it? Or could it?
Not yet, not from my point of view, unless anybody knows how to travel backwards in time through a black hole. But you'll have to wait for my second book. Swiftly moving on. But,
the only two movies in that really make me want to watch them are the one about Alan Turing and the one about why can't I think of his name? The guy, the genius guy who's in a wheelchair. What's his name?
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen
the Imitation
Hawking.
Game is about Alan. Yeah, the Imitation Game is about Alan Turing, and Stephen Hawking is the other one you're talking about. Now you've just got me forgetting it. We're doing well tonight's show, aren't we? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the show about confusion.
Oh, yeah.
Later on,
let me just refer to my notes.
Me, John Cole, Will Noonan.
Definitely, yes, he will be on. The Theory of Everything.
The Theory of Everything, yeah, which has overshadowed
the movie about
the Imitation Game. Which is a shame, although the performance is fabulous. But also, I mean, people forget these things about Stephen Hawking. I mean, he had two wives, and one of them divorced him, or both of them divorced him on grounds of mental cruelty and physical abuse. So, where'd you go with that one? I'm sure that won't be in the movie. I'd just like to throw that out there, considering, what Alan Turing, what happened to Alan Turing, which won't be mentioned at the Oscars either. It's all just, it's just, I can't be bothered. I actually cannot be bothered with the Oscars.
I will be surprised if it's not, because Benedict Cumberbatch, who played Alan Turing in the movie, is very outspoken on the issue, and I would be surprised if he gets a chance to. Every time I've seen him talking about the movie, he's gone into great detail about what happened. So I would be surprised if he doesn't.
Only if he wins. He's not. If he's making an acceptance award, that's the only option he's going to get, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So let's look a little bit at the Best Actor section. Steve Carell for Foxcatcher, Bradley Cooper for American Sniper. Can't watch that guy for some reason. Benedict Cumberbatch for The Imitation Game. Michael Keaton for Birdman. Eddie Redmayne for The Theory of Everything. Now, I think it's going to come down to those two again, don't you?
Yeah, well, of course, but Foxcatcher I missed as well, and I really wanted to see that as well. But it is, isn't it? It's going to be I think we know the two big battles that are going to go on there. But then, I mean, how long do the Oscars go on for? I'd take a sleeping bag. I'd curl up at the front.
Far too long.
I'd take my flask of Long Island iced tea, darling. Thank you, and that would be me.
I mean, I might flick backwards and forwards while I'm watching Walking Dead and whatever else is on before I go to my early bed time because of my flu. But I can't watch the whole 3 hours.
I've no intent. No, I'll just watch the news tomorrow morning while I'm getting ready. I'll be like, yeah, whatever. Who? Okay.
Yeah. While you're perming your hair and stuff.
while I'm flattening my split ends. Yeah. And
right. Yeah.
Popping my teeth back
ironing
in.
them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
so let's look a little bit at best actress. Some of these names I don't recognize, but maybe you do. Marion Cotillard for 2 Days. for 2 Days, One Night. Felicity Jones for The Theory of Everything. I think she played the wife. Julianne Moore in Still Alice. I think that's the movie about dementia.
Yeah,
Rosamund Pike. Go on.
Yeah. But no, it's about not dementia. What's the other one? Oh my God, I've got it. Apparently.
Alzheimer's. Yes, clearly.
Sorry.
Rosamund Pike for Gun Girl. Reese Witherspoon for Wild. And that's the Best Actress nominations.
Well, now I can speak to Gone Girl. Rosamund Pike was fantastic. She played psychotic bitch really well. That I loved that movie. I know it was I don't know, people either loved it or loathed it. I think it's a long movie for a suspense thriller. It is a long movie, but she puts in a great performance. Again, I think The Theory of Everything is going to overshadow them because everyone's just kind of decided it will. Although bless her, she's been kind of overlooked. So Julianne Moore, I think, is in with a real chance. And so she should be. She's been nominated about 4 times, hasn't she, and never won.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't get
actress.
one for the second Hannibal Lecter movie. What was it called? Red Dragon or something?
Was it the second or the third? Oh, yeah.
Actually, you're right. It is the third. It is the third.
Yeah. But another absolutely stunning actress or actor.
Wonderful performances, but no sign of an award. I don't know. I just think that's crazy. She's got to be up there with Meryl Streep, really.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but they all. I mean, Rosamund Pike as well has put in some great performances. You know, I mean, it's a lot of her movies. These are all, you know, well, the three. I mean, up and coming. The young lady from the series Everything is up and coming, but get a great performance. But again, this is the kind of point, though, isn't it? Is who are you up against? What are you up against? And who's on the judging panel as well? You know, you look at some of these people. I mean, at one point years ago, I remember them. I was doubled up laughing on the sofa, and they said, "Oh, yes, on this year's panel is Joan Collins." And like, are you kidding me?
Really?
Yeah, years ago. I mean, I am going back, ladies and gentlemen, about 25 years. Yes, I am very old. I'm an old queen.
25 years.
In the business, darling. But she was, at one point, it might be even longer than that, but she was on the judging panel. I thought, please, she wouldn't know. I mean, really, if you put a gun to her head and said act, there would be a hole in the wall next to her. I mean, you know. So
yeah, she's one of those actresses that plays the same role in everything she does, doesn't she?
Well, she just plays herself. She just plays herself. It's is there a change of character there? Who knows? Close the door and see what happens. It's completely pointless. So, again, it depends who's there. I don't for a second believe that they're that people have voted for on the merits. I think it's all a bit dodgy. But
it's about popularity
at the end of the day,
than anything else, I think.
Well, absolutely. And the sun will rise tomorrow, and the world will carry on turning.
Exactly. I'm bored with the Oscars already, and I haven't even. There were so many good movies that are not going to be
exactly
kind of nominated.
Completely overlooked. No, they've been completely overlooked, and all these things. Where are all the independents? That are being brought.
Yeah.
I mean, out of that list at the top, and I know there'll be independents in there, but why aren't they being dragged to the top of this? Here are your couples, but look at all these independents out there, and here they are, and we're going to support them, and they're going to get stuck at the bottom of the list. And they're like, oh yeah, and so won this, but with all these cheesy stars and their £118,000 goodie bags, at the parties at the end, going home and talking a lot of crap, basically. And then we'll have to put up with it all again next year.
Exactly. So let's move away. Let's move away from the drama of the Oscars and look at the drama between Amber Rose, Kanye, and the Kardashians. Because this week, self-important, swell-headed idiot Kanye West had no trouble was coming after engaging in a Twitter war with his ex-girlfriend, Amber Rose. after a radio interview. Kanye said of Amber, the girl he dated on and off for 2 years, which ended in 2010, it's very hard for a woman to want to be with someone that's with Amber Rose. I had to take 30 showers before I got with Kim. He also claimed that his one-time love is only famous because his wife wouldn't date him when he first crushed on her. And said, Rose is just soaking in the moment. If Kim had dated me when I wanted, there would be no Amber Rose. Ouch. Rose's response was pretty much what you'd expect from the woman who's publicly dissed Kim as a homewrecker and has claimed an underage Kylie Jenner was dating 25-year-old rapper Tyhe last week. Let's not forget, speculated that Kardashian friend O.J. Simpson is actually the biological father of Khloe Kardashian in their Twitter feud this week. Would you want to take on the Kardashians? I don't know where to start with this, really. It's kind of like the teapot calling the kettle grimy ass, you know. How dare Kim Kardashian talk trash about anyone when we know where she came from?
Well, absolutely. And also, basically, what her husband is saying is he'll date anyone until something better comes along, surely. Because what he was saying is the Amber Rose, he said, well, he was only dating Amber Rose because Kim wouldn't date him. So basically, any port in a storm. So what does that say about how many times Kim should be showering right now? Because he'll poke anything. You know what I mean? So just listening to that story, I instantly want to put put my headset down and go and shower, you know. But Kanye, well, I mean, really, seriously, you know, two brain cells fighting each other and one of them's going to lose. It's just the whole thing is scary in itself. But
I don't know. Go on, sorry.
Well, I'm just thinking. I mean, that family. This is the first time I'm going to say this, right? I now suddenly want to be involved in reality TV because I want to go on that show as their counsellor, and I don't want to help them. I want to help. Well, I do. I want to help them separate. Okay. I want to point out their pathetic, miserable, pointless lives, and help them understand why it doesn't matter how much money they have in the bank. They're always going to be a couple of idiots. But I want to help them understand what that word means, and I want to help them understand why the world thinks what it does of them. So at some point, we'll need Suicide Watch, but that's okay. They can afford it. And I'm going to help them understand how pointless they are. I think that would make a really good show.
They're obviously getting kind of desperate because they started attacking this girl, Amber Rose, and I'd not really kind of like heard of her. But you know, she tried to remain dignified, but I just think if you've made your name from your mother allegedly distributing a porn video about yourself, how can you know, people who live in glass whorehouses shouldn't throw their panties around? I mean, you can't say you're better than anybody else if that's how you've crawled your way to the top, surely.
Well, I think if they're all arguing about each other, Amber Rose is obviously bitching about that. I have no idea who Amber Rose is, by the way, but if she's listening, change your name, sweetie. It's just not working for you. But whoever, she's clearly attacking them, you know, and they're attacking her back, which is fair enough. If you're all going to have a go, you know, then get in the mud pit and start flinging boys and girls. But the idea that one thinks they're better than the other is what amuses me, and so that's where I would play. And Joe's saying you couldn't help them in 30 minutes a week. I couldn't, Joe, but I could over a year. Do you know what I mean? I mean, how long have they been on TV? Seriously,
too long.
Over a year,
damn long.
Over a year, that builds up. Over a year, that builds up, Joe. Trust me, I'm a very good therapist. I've been doing it for 10 years. So, you know, that's what amuses me. You know, and as I say, I'm a big fan of giving all the religious zealots and the idiots their own TV shows, and we can all sit down with the popcorn and watch them spontaneously combust together. So this is my idea. If it's not good enough, you know, giving them their own show and seeing and letting them make idiots of themselves obviously works. People enjoy that, and they're still doing it. But really what we need now are people like us, Xander, going in. If there are any producers listening, we're busy, but we'll make time. What they need now are people like us, or therapists going in and saying, right, you're an idiot and this is why. And really sitting them down and making them look at themselves for real. And I don't mean somebody going in and stroking their ego and saying, no, let's sit around the table. I mean, really going in and saying, I promise not to swear anymore on the show. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, somebody really going in and saying, you moron, this is why you are a moron. Have a look at this.
Right.
And because I want to see them have a meltdown, but I want to be the cause of that meltdown. And that's what I think. That's where I think reality TV needs to go now, to make it fun for those of us who have had to tolerate watching these multimillionaires bore us for this long and think that they have a right to do it.
But this is a sad thing. The reason they are where they are is because people have watched them, and the more people watch them, the more they'll give them. And the thing is that this is the thing about reality television. It's supposed to give us 5 minutes away from our drab lives. Well, if you have a drab life and you're sitting watching that kind of thing, it perpetuates the circular logic of it.
Yeah, but I have Sunday afternoons free. It's everything is just going to carry on, isn't it? That they're never going to stop. Clearly, they're never going to stop. We're never going to be able to stop them. So
it is, because they have so many franchises. They've got, what's it going to be next? They're going to do. No, I don't want to be disrespectful about Bruce. I'm fully supportive of Bruce's transition, but there'll be an offshoot of that as well. There'll be a series with Bruce Kardashian. I was going to say Bruce Jenner, and his transition, and then there'll be offshoots from that too. I mean, it's just a never-ending enterprise. And people are saying in the chat about, the young girls. These girls have been, modeling and stuff since they were 12, 13, and 14. And it's worrying that they're dating, like, older rappers and stuff like that. What does that say to the nation's youth?
Well, but what does it say to a nation that thinks it's all right to carry Uzis in their glove compartments? I mean, seriously, Xander, really, the right to bear arms. How many children kill their parents, and it's still the right to bear arms? So, in a country like the one you live in, which I love, by the way, for American listeners, I still love America. But when you live by those rules and you don't learn, then where do you think it's going to go? And as far as 13-year-olds, dating rappers, then, of course, I mean, Mommy Dearest, we allegedly posted that sex video about Kim. So what does that tell you about, when that's grandmother, what chance do you stand? But if social services, again, money talks, so if social services are prepared to stand by and not be concerned about that when you see it on television, then exactly, that's a very good question. What chance do they stand? But again, if that society, the society you live in it actually considers that entertainment and doesn't concern itself, then you're lost. But, I refer to my last comment, the right to bear arms seems to be the right to murder your children. And that seems to be
I'd just like to point out that Tyhe's opinions are not necessarily the opinions of the show. So don't write to Tyhe and don't write to me, because we don't freaking care.
No, I don't.
I think... I don't know. I do think it's very circular, and I do think that if it's ever going to change, we should stop watching. We should boycott them. Don't follow them on social media. Don't buy their product. Don't go to the store, because I think that the more we do these things, we're actually perpetuating this bullshit,
of course.
For one of a better phrase.
What's coming around here now is Comic Relief, and we've spoken about the charities before. There are a lot of the entertainers that support it. I'm a big fan of, but I don't support Comic Relief. I'm not interested in their propaganda or their campaigning. I don't...
Is that mostly because the money's not getting to the people it needs to? Is that your concern?
Well, it's who they invest with. They invest with as well. They invest with very dodgy people. They invest with some very nasty people. And also, of course, the money doesn't get there. How can you raise £800 million and still, people are fighting for vaccines and things? It's absurd. It's nonsense. But So there are things like that. But of course, and there are other, and of course, Annie Lennox. We have our problem now with Annie Lennox. I still love her music, but politics-wise and her vocal opinion of other performance, she can keep to us. I'm not interested in. So we all have that balance. But you're right. You can't complain about somebody and then support what they do. So you're right. Absolutely. If you've had enough of something, then don't support it. That's like saying, I hate what the Republicans do. By the way, I've just got to pop out and vote for them. Doesn't make sense.
Yes,
so.
Exactly.
Or Kathy saying, well, I hate them, but I have to watch them. Kathy, what does that say about you? Really? You have a TV remote control?
Exactly. Okay, let's move to our last story of the newsy items today. The family of codebreaker Alan Turing, who was recently portrayed by Benedict Cumberbatch in the movie The Imitation Game, will visit Downing Street to demand the government pardons 49,000 other men persecuted like him for their homosexuality. Now, Turing cracked the German military codes, which were vital to the British war effort against Nazi Germany. He was convicted in 1952 for gross indecency, was chemically castrated, and 2 years later died from cyanide poisoning in an apparent suicide. Now, whilst he was quite rightly given a posthumous pardon in 2013, campaigners want the government to pardon all the men convicted under that outdated law. Now, Cumberbatch's Oscar-nominated portrayal of Turing has brought the pioneering scientist's story to a wider audience, following from his days working as a Second World War codebreaker at Bletchley Park to his work at Manchester University in England, which saw him hailed as the father of modern computing, and his tragic death is depicted in the film also. Now, his work helped shorten the conflict and save many thousands of lives, and this is how the British government repaid him. Rest in peace. Thank you for your service, and I hope you found in death the peace you were denied in life. Now, we talked about this today, Tyhe, and our response was mostly discussed, but expand upon that a little bit for people. Tell people what your response is to all of this.
Yeah, well, basically, for one, I think that the only reason he got the pardon was because that the Buckingham Palace were given the heads up that the movie was being made, because nobody's ever has discussed Alan Turing that I know of publicly in decades. Maybe in history, in history channel programs that they took when they talk about the code breakers, and the fact that he was given a pardon and not a knighthood, or made a peer of the realm, is just disgusting to me. And still, even now, after the pardon and all this has happened, still there is no mention of him being made a peer of the realm, or given a knighthood, or a posthumous knight, or being venerated in any way for his work. It's simply a pardon, and it's abhorrent to me. It's disgusting to me. And then, of course, we find out that, as I put, I shared the petition around. There are now 49,000 other men in this situation who were appallingly treated simply because they were gay, but had put in these amazing contributions to life. But Alan Turing saved hundreds of thousands of lives. He made a massive contribution in the Second World War, and was treated like a monster. But what freaks me out now, even now as we speak, is they've just still left it as a pardon. But I still firmly believe the only reason he was given that pardon is because the Buckingham Palace were given the heads up that this movie was being made. Otherwise, he would still be a name in disgrace.
I don't doubt that, Tyhe, and the thing that's of concern mostly, not mostly, but the other thing that's actually of concern for me is that, like you said, they've only pardoned this guy. The movie's coming out, but let's face it, there are still people that are affected by that. People have written on that page that protest page about the fact that they still can't get public jobs because they have an indecency offense against them still outstanding. That's never gone off their record. And the concern for me, Ty, is that now, if they did this now, if they put a law either in the United Kingdom or in the United States, such a backward law that said that two consenting adults could not engage in any kind of sexual act, or they would be imprisoned, there would be uproar. Just like we said earlier, it's like that in Russia now. We can see now that how far we've progressed, but we still need to make things right. We really do.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, though, it's all, as long as, I think it is a case of as long as people keep their heads down, nobody will do anything about it. Governments think, oh, that's okay, not enough people are shouting. It's the same as we discussed earlier. Now the Olympics have moved on. Nobody's mentioning what's happening in Russia anymore. Or it doesn't matter that gay people are being battered to death. That's okay. No, the cameras aren't on there anymore. So all these thousands of people who are still suffering through no fault of their own, through doing nothing, causing no problem, doing nothing wrong, are still being abused, basically, and that's what it is. It's abuse.
It is. It absolutely is abuse, and I think throughout the world there are human rights abuses going on every single minute of every day. But still, civilized countries like Britain and America are happy to deal and trade and give aid to these countries while they're still being involved in these things. It's disgusting.
Absolutely. And everybody wants to believe that it's happening somewhere else as well, and it's not. Ladies and gentlemen, it's happening right next door to you. It's in your back garden. It is in your country. It is not in some third world outback that nobody's ever heard of, that doesn't have electricity. It's happening right next door to you, and it's just disgusting. It's not scary. It's infuriating, and it's disgraceful, and it needs to it just needs to stop, and it needs to be dealt with right now.
In fact, we're going to share, I know Ty shared it on his Facebook and Twitter pages already, but after the show today, we will share the link to this petition, and if you could sign it, it would be most fabulous if you could sign it and share it so that other people can indeed sign that too. That's one way that you can help to redress this this imbalance. And I have to say, I really want to see this movie. I'm sure it will make me very sad because, let's face it, this guy took his life because he'd given his life to his country, and then they turned on him for being gay, and his life was never the same again. They chemically castrated him. I mean, how disgusting, how totally unconscionable is the way that they treated him. I can't even put it into words. It angers me so much that he served his country and this is how they treated him.
And absolutely, and also they knew then what they know now as well. I mean, chemical castration was an awful thing. It didn't work. It caused real medical problems and mental health problems. But can I say as well to everybody, I know people have done it before, and thank you, the petitions that we put onto Xander's site and eventually we'll be putting onto my website, they're genuine petitions. They really do some good. They make a big difference, and they make a big impact. So you're not just wasting your time sticking your name on them. They do go. They travel past me and through and on, and they get presented to politicians, real politicians and real Congress people. So keep signing them for us, please. They do work.
Absolutely. We're not gonna share stuff with you that are gonna use your address and sell your address on or anything like that. It's just basically all about trying to make a difference. And I know that I know from the emails and comments and stuff that we get about the show that there are many of you out there that want to make a difference. And here's a difference you can make without even leaving your house.
Absolutely.
Oh, Joe's asking.
Yeah, we don't share. Go on.
Joe's asking about chemical castration, about taking away your libido. No, I don't think it is fixable once they've taken it away, Joe. But what they're actually trying, the petition is actually to get these people's record expunged, not to do something about the chemical castration, because all the people that were charged under that were not actually chemically castrated, but some of those people still have it on their records. I've got that right, haven't I, Tyhe?
Yes, but also, can I just say, chemical castration and lowering your libido are two completely different things. They would use a drug called bromide to lower the libido. They used to use that with soldiers or attempted to. Chemical castration is a much more aggressive drug treatment and caused a lot of physical side effects as well as mental problems, mental health problems. And it caused a lot of irreversible problems as well. So there are two totally different things. Just so nobody thinks it was just this nice little pill that he took and went to sleep at night. Chemical castration is a very aggressive treatment, not a libido lowering drug. But yes, but the big issue is all these people that are being treated in these very cruel and unnecessary ways, and whose lives are being ruined simply because they're on this ridiculous register for being gay and nothing else. Absolutely,
and I kind of when I I'd always known about this guy, because a lot of people hold him up as an example of gay people that have made a difference, but I didn't actually know that he'd ended up the way he'd ended up, that he took his own life and all of these things as a result of the chemical castration. But it just kind of made me sad to think that he'd done this for his country, and this is the way they paid him back. And it's absolutely disgusting. And you're right. Not only do they need to have given him a posthumous pardon, they need to give him a knighthood or something to acknowledge what he did. Because they threw him over, didn't they? Let's face it.
Absolutely.
The British government back then threw him over, and I think that it needs to be made right now.
Totally, and I think that's why the movie was made, or one of the big reasons the movie was made, was because people have no idea how badly he was treated. I think a lot of people don't know just how huge the contribution he made was, for a start, and computers. He was the father of computing, for God's sake, and well, from an electronic point of view. But and also they'd no idea just how appallingly he was treated. I think people just think, oh well, he did that all for us. That was fantastic, and then he went off somewhere and retired. I don't think people had any idea what happened. So now now the truth is out there. At least that's there, and let's hope now that this. Let's not hope. Let's demand now that these changes are made.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and I, may he rest in peace.
Absolutely.
So I just want to remind people, while we wait for our guest to call in, that today's show is sponsored by Computer Perfect, providers of Lightning, the #1 in point of sales service. For the liquor industry, make sure you check them out at www.computerperfect.com. That's www.computerperfect.com. Oh, yes, indeed. So we're just waiting for Will to call in now. Will is a comedian, and we'll tell you a bit more about him in a mere moment. So what are your plans for this week? More of the same, or do you have some exciting things planned, Tyhe?
I have, just a website to design, the designer to speak to, and writing. So, I said at the beginning of the show that I haven't done any writing, so promise I'm doing a lot of writing this week, because the story's done. I just have to now write it. So there's no excuse. I haven't got writer's block or I know exactly how the story. Well, I now have the story for 8 books. The whole thing is now written in my head, and I know where it's gone, and it's going, and it's ending. So that's what's getting done. So I am genuinely going to be sitting and writing this week. And my co-writer, as far as the album, has been in touch with me as well. And that's slow but surely happening. as well. So which is a bit more exciting for me as a musician because I haven't sung. I haven't been on stage in over 12 months. So it was August 2000. Was that 2013 that we launched the Farewell to Alchemy album?
Wow, where does the time go?
It was, wasn't it? I know exactly. It's
absolutely
it's fleeting by like a pair of old heels, darling. So that's slowly coming to fruition as well. So, but I did start singing again the other day because I hadn't sung either. You know, it sounds ridiculous that people might, you know, I think people sing as you just wander around singing randomly. And I hadn't sung anything.
You don't do that, Tyhe? You don't sing 24/7?
No, I realise because again, you know, as I say, I'm a very shallow person, so I don't normally sing unless money's changing hands.
I get it.
And so I thought, can I sing anymore? I don't know. And then I thought, oh yeah, I still can. So
absolutely.
So it's still there. So yeah, so I've been chatting to him back and forward.
Absolutely.
Is he here?
So let's bring. Yes, he is. So Will Noonan is a stand-up comedian who is also well known for his internet presence, his appearances in national television commercials, and his humongous penis. His joke memes or stand-up shots, no, I wonder if that's penis related, have garnered millions of views on media sites such as Reddit and the Chiv, whatever that is. A legend in his own lunchtime. I give you the one, the only Mr. Will Noonan. Welcome back to the show, Will. How's it going?
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's
Hello.
going good. You're live with me and Tyhe.
What's up, Tyhe? How are you? Nice to meet you, man.
Hi. I thought I'd stay and say hello because I always disappear in the second half for no apparent reason, really.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. He turns into a pumpkin at 12 o'clock UK time. You see, so he has to get his beauty sleep. So how have things been with you? What have you been up to? Tell us, give us a bit of an update. What you've been doing.
Well, I've been, doing my regular comedy touring, but I'm in the Northeast, and it's been kind of rough the past 3 weeks because we got 5 feet of snow. So I've just been driving in snowstorms every Saturday, it seems like, and it's been interesting.
Absolutely. So no TV appearances of late.
I did. No, my last one was in October, and I'm getting ready for my next one. I'm doing the same show again on Access Gotham, so I'm kind of preparing the next set right now.
Brilliant. You'll have to let us
cool.
know when that is, and we'll come with the camera and we'll do an interview for the TV show.
Absolutely. We'll definitely do that. That'd be cool as hell.
Absolutely. So what do you make of this?
Then he says we, by the way, that won't be me.
Yeah, no, Tyhe won't be coming over from Scotland to be involved
I'd just
with
like
that.
to make that clear. It won't be a personal snub, Will. It's just due to the fact that I'm in Scotland, yeah.
Well, you know what? Then forget it. I won't do it. I would only do it if I was there.
So what do you make of this Twitter war with Kanye West and Amber Rose and the Kardashian bitches?
I did think it was really funny, I got to admit. I thought her joke about the sex tape or something, it was like I'm not abreast of the entire situation, but I saw something about the sex tape making fun of Kim Kardashian for pretty much just being a porn star who's only done one movie. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I like that Amber Rose kind of really stood up to her rather than backed away. Because why is everybody so afraid of the Kardashians? I don't get this. Why people think that you have to back away from them.
I hate them. I think they've ruined America. I think women who watch that show women who watch that show have adopted their crappy voice, they're oh my god, everything is all the time. Oh my god. And it's every time I'm single now and I'm out talking to women and it's you want to shoot yourself at the time with these voices.
It's like Valley Girl on acid, isn't it? It's thank you.
Oh my god, thank you.
I've said on the show before, I don't know how I managed this, but the Kardashians were on TV in the UK for about 5 years. I escaped them for years. I just saw their name and saw kind of trailers for the show And although I abhor reality TV on the mainstay anyway, but just avoided it for years. I had no clue who they were. So I've been quite lucky. I am reasonably sane for somebody who's not that sane because I've avoided them. And Amber Rose, God love her, I wouldn't know if she fell on me. So I've done quite well out of all this, really.
Yeah, well, the Kardashians are like the flu. You know, you can avoid it for years, but eventually it'll catch up to you, and you just kind of...
Sadly, I'm there.
Yeah, we can't talk about...
now because of the show.
We can't talk about the flu today. Sorry, I'm bunged up with the man flu this week, unfortunately. Do you believe in the man flu, Will? Isn't it worse if you're a guy and you get the flu? I mean, let's be honest about this.
I think it's even worse if you're a performer of any type. I've noticed that actors, like, when they get sick, it's like twice as bad, you know, because their feelings are so close to the surface.
Exactly. I probably will. You know, I will die from this flu. I mean, I definitely will. It's going that way.
It's
like death and destruction. I'm the Grim Reaper sitting on my shoulder like a parrot. But no, seriously, and you have to get like hooked up on all these generic meds, and you're not supposed to drive, and you're not supposed to use high wire acts and stuff.
A couple of years ago, I had adult chicken pox, which is like one of the worst things you can get.
Yeah.
It was horrible. I thought I had chicken pox when I was a kid, but I guess if you have like a mild case, you can get it again.
Yeah.
It was so bad. I looked like I had like acne or something. Like I had it all over like my hands and feet and everything. And then it was like maybe 2 weeks before I felt like I could leave the house, or because I just looked so weird. And I remember going to a restaurant, and the second I sat down, the waitress was like, "Oh my God, did you have chicken pox?" And then she threw up.
See, and it can be. Yeah, and just to brighten your day as well, Will, it can be really, really dangerous as an adult to get it again as well. So congratulations, you're still alive.
Yeah, luckily I was like healthy enough to deal with it, but it was like I could see how it could kill you because before the spots like show up, you get like this 2-day fever that's horrible.
Yeah, it can blind you actually as well.
Oh my God! Well, man, that's probably what happened. I thought it was the masturbation, but I guess it was the chicken pox.
See, it's not just.
It was probably a bit of both, to be honest, Will. You know.
I did it at the same time. That's how I got through the chicken pox. You know, you got to pass the time.
So there you go. That's brought to you by Will Noonan. It's not just the Catholics that will get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? You also, you know, as a byproduct, you've got something to rub on the spots. I mean, it's brilliant. You know. It's genius.
Yeah, and you've already got...
I'm leaving now. Goodbye. Oh, my God.
Yeah, you're already covered.
Tyhe has a superiority streak going on of late. You know, he's...
oh, man. Well, I was lucky. I didn't get the chicken pox on my genitals. Like, I was lucky in that way because that can happen. I had it on my on the bottoms of my feet. And that was like the worst place I got it, but I've heard of people getting them all over their junk and up their butt and everything. So I was lucky.
Oh God! I had shingles a few years ago, and that was pretty bad.
Yeah, shingles and like chickenpox.
I think they're related, aren't they? They're the same virus or something. I just got this big kind of like a. It looked like I'd been burned with an iron, but it like hurt all the way around. And when you scratched it, it just kind of like got like 10 times worse.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
The pain was the worst. You know, I'm a big baby. You know, I'm typical wimp when it comes to pain. But this pain was like the worst pain in the world. So I was dying. But the meds were good. They gave me these Percocet or something like that, and you take one of those, you could walk and break your leg. And still got to carry on walking.
Well, hang on, stop, right. I'm sorry, I feel I must intervene here, because people are listening to this. How exactly did we get here? It's like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, comedian Will Noonan, and his measle-free testicles, his chicken-free testicles, and you talking about your shingles.
I know, this is good radio. Stop. This is just old men.
This is what radio is. This is what radio is made for. Let's face it.
Xandermonium,
Let me ask you, Will,
about what didn't fall off last year. completely.
Hey, come on. I never brought up Will's testicles. I usually do, but I thought I wouldn't.
No.
I thought I'd be good today.
I beat you to the punch.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't go there, dude. So do you think there's a limit with humor? Is there kind of like, what can't you joke about? What would you not go on stage and joke about?
I don't think there's anything that you can't joke about if you come up with a good enough joke. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think it's good to just go up there and start talking about things if you don't have anything in the chamber ready. But
right.
Yeah.
Like personally, like I've listening to other comics, I've heard funny jokes about the most messed up things. Personally, I try and kind of keep, I don't want anyone leaving one of my shows like that I'm headlining like bummed out or, I've had like, on like a really small level, like my dog died. You know what I mean? You go to a comedy show or you go to shows those next couple of weeks and you hear a joke about a dog dying and it's like not funny at all to you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So I try not to make jokes about like too harsh of a subject sometimes because I just don't want to remind someone of like a bad time they had. But I think a good comedian can make anything funny.
But if you've got it, I think I've said that. I think to Xander before we were talking about when sadly, well, I don't know how you felt about it, but the great Joan Rivers passed, and said obviously she was very caustic about things. But as far as comedy, and you may disagree, but you're saying when you've got something in your head and you think it's funny, sometimes you've just got to run with it, haven't you? You've just got to put it out into the universe, and it's either going to work with an audience or it isn't.
Yeah, and that's like what comedy is. I mean, and in the clubs, those are the most magical moments when the audience isn't really sure about a joke, and then the guy just makes such a great discovery, in his thoughts, and says something that's so, those are the great moments in comedy when someone makes you think something you didn't even know you were already thinking, and it makes you laugh.
Yeah.
And, when people can find humor in these, like I think that's the greatest thing a comedian does, is if you can make people laugh during these horrible times, like national tragedies and stuff like that, if you can give someone like just 2 seconds of their day where they laugh and forget, even if it's something really messed up like a celebrity death or like a school shooting, if someone writes a quick little joke about it that takes you out of it, even for 2 seconds, I think that's a job well done.
Yeah.
Whoever did it.
Absolutely. So do you ever steal jokes, Will? Because I know that I often hear like older jokes, like straight jokes, and I turn them into gay jokes. Do you ever steal jokes?
No, I would never do that. I get like very uptight I get nervous, if I write a joke and it comes to me too easily, I get really nervous that like I must have heard it somewhere or I'm finding it from somewhere. Luckily, nowadays it usually gets pointed out like pretty quickly if I touch upon something that's like too close to something else. But I will tell you this, like when I watch a great comic, like I was just watching Kevin Hart's like his most recent special, and I definitely will steal like performance aspects. Like I was watching him and I'm like, this guy is really using the stage and using his face in a way that I'm not.
Yeah.
So like I'll go out the next week and kind of try and focus on something like that, in that way, I guess.
But that's just expanding on what you already have, isn't it? That's just kind of learning, feeling your way around a stage, I suppose. That's not stealing from anybody, isn't it? That's just
it's kind of like I was
yourself.
I was like an actor first before I was a comedian, and it's really weird because when you go to acting school, it's like that's what they teach you basically. It's like steal from people. It's like if you see something cool, like imitate it and steal it, whether it's another actor or like another human being. But in comedy and stand-up especially, there's like this crazy thing where everyone writes their acts themselves, and people get, very protective of their material, and you don't want to write something that's derivative of somebody else. So it's very like, it's different.
Why not?
I know. But I always try and steal like from guys and like just different type of like performance aspects and maybe like a joke structure. Every now and then you'll hear someone do a bit and you'll go, oh, I could like kind of use that line of thinking towards what I'm working on, something like that.
I think you find that though.
Right.
I mean, as a performer, I find myself sometimes I've been performing for a very long time, but I find myself sometimes I've caught myself on stage and I thought, oh, that's quite interesting because that's a certain performer that I admire, or I've enjoyed their work for a long time. I find something creeping in, but it's been a physical aspect rather than I'm not trying to sing the way they are. But I found that a physical aspect of their performance has suddenly crept into the way I'm projecting myself on stage. But I do that thing when I'm writing a lyric or a hook line. I always think if it comes really quickly, I always panic that I've stolen something from somewhere.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. It's like a paranoia that like lives inside you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it really is yours, and you're like, oh, maybe good things do come.
Oh no, absolutely.
But it's weird.
I tend to use a lot of one-liners that, like, there's this artist from the UK, Tyhe will have heard of him/her, called Lily Savage, and her stuff was just so groundbreaking that this artist doesn't do this character anymore. It's such a shame not to use some of the lines, because, like, in America, they would never have heard them, mostly.
Yeah.
So and I think that's kind of acceptable, because I doubt that Lily Savage is going to come and batter my door down with a frying pan in her hand.
Sadly, yeah, the character is gone forever. Sadly, you're right. But I think as well from that point of view, isn't it? There's always that worry, particularly as we always worried about that phone call when somebody says the thing suits for copyright. So
yeah, exactly. Or in my case, it's like, if I have something on the internet and it's like millions of people, they'd love to point out something like that. Like I had a joke recently, and some guy it went kind of big on the internet, and some guy in the comment section was like, "This is a Louis C.K. joke," and then he just made that up, and no one could prove it, and no one could find any clips or anything that like matched it up. But it's still the comment itself got like a lot of attention just because it was kind of negative and kind of like ugly, So that's just like part of the course.
People often want to kind of claim that you've plagiarized stuff. Like, people still say that I stole the name Xandermonium. I came up with that. It's my. It's my. I mean, I'm sure other people have probably used it, but I came up with it.
Like it's definitely. I mean, nowadays with the internet, it's like if you're doing something in America and someone's doing something in Finland, and you have the same title of your podcast, people are like, "You stole that," because I Googled it and I saw something else. It's like, well, we're like thousands of miles away, and no one's ever gonna listen to both. Yeah.
Before I published the book, I actually have 7 variations of my book copyrighted, so that if anybody tries to sue me and say, "Well, I wrote that," I'm like, "Really? Well, here are the copyrighted." But I mean, it's absurd. But I did it just to make sure that every aspect that I could think of was covered. And I'm sure at some point, if it becomes a huge seller, some weird little person from, as you're saying, from some country I've never heard of will say, "I wrote that 10 years ago and he stole it."
Oh yeah. Yeah, because it's like the law of averages. There's so many people writing so many things. It's going to happen. There's going to be crossover.
Yeah.
But people pointed out, like, people are so much quicker to call you and say that it's like someone will read it and enjoy it and never say anything. But if someone thinks you stole it or they think there's something wrong with it, they're so quick to just to send you an email or a message. That's just like the way people are now. They love to be negative.
People are always more willing to say bad stuff. I think it's
and sadly that's where people are, aren't they?
Going. Yeah.
It is that people want the negative. Well, that's it, isn't it? People always remember the worst performance, not the best, don't they? At the end of the day, remember your last performance, not necessarily your best performance.
Yeah, that's true. And people remember, like, if a band breaks into a fight on stage, that like defines them for like 10 years. It's like you never know what's gonna. Yeah, they always say it. I'm like, come see like the Brian Jonestown Massacre this weekend. You never know what's going to happen at one of their shows. You know what I mean? It just becomes like the defining thing. And whenever I get heckled or something, or if I come back to that city or town like a year later, people never remember like my jokes. They remember like the time I got heckled and I like embarrassed the guy or something. People
I love being heckled. It's a great opportunity. When I used to do drag in England and people used to heckle me, I loved it. It was like a brilliant opportunity because I'm so quick with a retort. I remember this guy saying to me he would like to do things to me. He said I'd like to F you in a frock, and I said it wouldn't fit you in the first place. And it brought the house down. But I love hecklers. I mean, do you have like standard responses to hecklers, or does it depend on what they say?
I have a couple standards, but I usually just go with whatever's happening, whatever they said, because it's so hard to predict what they're going to do, and it doesn't happen to me all the time. So it's like it's this weird sort of anomaly I just deal with from time to time. I usually have fun with it though. Like I got heckled last weekend. I did this big theater. It was like a 900-seat theater, and I got heckled, and I ended up just having a good little retort in it. And sometimes it does make the show better, but I don't really get too upset about it, but it can sometimes when they're just drunk and they're not even contributing anything, it can be just such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but I mean, there's nothing worse. If you're in the floor and you're creating, and then some idiot jumps in, then no, you want to just punch them in the head. But I suppose they're useful in that setting if, you know, as you're saying, Will, that the floor's good and they're actually useful in that kind of setting, then you can have fun. And you know, it's something that you can have that back and forth.
My favorite thing in the world. My favorite thing in the world is when they heckle me and they have this like smile on their face, like, oh, I just got this guy so good, and then I just I embarrass them so bad, and I'd watch that expression
eviscerate
change.
them.
Yeah, and I love to watch that smile turn into like a look of confusion and shame.
I kind of, when I used to do drag in London, I used to hide behind the drag, and that used to give me a license to kind of, because my character was a real bitch, and I kind of, I took, I don't know, well, even when I worked straight, when I used to work, you know, when we did singing shows, people would heckle, wouldn't they, Tyhe? And we just give them what for, you know.
I would kind of same as Andrew a little bit, but I suppose, apart from work, we worked in the West End of London as professional musicians, but also worked in the gay cabaret circuit, and that's, kind of where you learn to deal with hecklers. It's where we learned our trade, basically.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, you know, so hecklers, in those days, don't get hecklers now, thankfully, well, very, very rarely. But certainly then had a lot of fun with hecklers. But had no choice, you know. I suppose the same as you, Will. You know, in those moments when the drunks, as you're talking about, in those moments when you realise you have to just smash somebody down, really, you know, you don't have time to waste up with them.
Yeah,
when you have to silence them really quickly.
It's kind of unfair in a way too. Like you get heckled the most at the beginning of your career when you're like the least prepared for it, and then as you get bigger and bigger, you get heckled less and less, but you're more and more like equipped to handle it.
When you have an answer for everything.
Yeah, exactly. But in those early days,
I like that,
I got heckled a ton at the beginning. Yeah, it's good. It's like it's paying your dues in a way. You know, and that's how you get good, is by getting, you know, dealing with it over and over again.
I think it spills over into your real life though, because when people are bitchy in real life, you've still always got a retort. I mean, I have an office job, and I was at work the other day, and this guy was talking, and he said something like, he said a little anal, and I said no thanks, I'm drinking my coffee right now, and we obviously fell about laughing, but it's hard to kind of switch it off, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of stuff too. Like if you're listening to this and you're doing that a lot, like that's those kind of people are funny. You know, those are like, that's a gift. Like I think, to be quick in life, and those are the people. Like I'm always like, those, like, you know, you ever think about a lot of people try comedy who shouldn't, and not enough people who are actually funny do it. You know what I mean? And I think that's like a comedic gift some people just have, like where they're quick like that.
I kind of miss it, but
it's fun, doesn't it? To
I wonder.
To be surrounded by people like that rather than the miserable ones that think they can sing. Frankly, you think, that's really stressful. Will.
Thank you, karaoke. I'd like to go and do comedy again, but I wonder if I would be able to do it so well without being able to hide behind the character. Do you know what I mean? I think
it's like anything, you know. it's really, it takes a little time. It's not going to be overnight, but I think within a 6 months to a year of doing it, you'd be as comfortable as anywhere else, you know. It just takes time, and it's just like, I think you'd be great at it, man. I think it could be a whole other source of income for you. You should do
Absolutely. I went and did a segment for the TV show last year at a comedy club in the city, and I'm not going to mention which comedy club, but I saw some of the people on there, and I thought they're not bad, but they're not brilliant. I could do better, you know. And I know you probably think swellhead, but I just think
well, that's
I definitely
always
think it's. Yeah,
I
dirty,
think that's
dirty boy.
You're not a performer if you're not jealous of anyone who's on stage when you're not, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta want it.
Well, you're not a performer if you don't have an ego, really, are you? Because you wouldn't be on stage in the first place. I don't like that. You know, I speak to other other musicians and things, and I say, oh, well, I don't know, and I hate that false modesty that goes on with people, and I just think that's bullshit, man, because you wouldn't be here if you didn't have an ego. If you didn't want to get up and perform in front of people, I
couldn't agree more, because that's such a thing here in American comedy right now. It's like this whole, like, it's like a style of self-deprecating, modest kind of comedy where everyone else is a fool and the person in the story is just awkward, and I'm like, you obviously think you're pretty cool if you think people want to sit down and listen to you for a half an hour, 45 minutes. Like, you don't get into this business without having some ego, you know? I hate that. I hate false modesty.
Same with musicians as well, though, you know, and all this kind of, thanks, I don't know how I got. Well, you do know how you got here. You ate your own children.
Yeah, of course.
You know, you know, and that. So it's the same. I think it's performers in general now have suddenly got that. You're right. This false modesty, or this false humble hubris, you know, and you know that when they get backstage, they're going to be demanding some ridiculous drink off some poor man that daren't make eye contact with them, you know, and
Or a lot of times,
I told you not to tell people about that.
I noticed some of those people are the hardest workers at getting, like, they're the people who get off stage and they're on the phone, like, getting that next gig, like, they're hustlers. So it's like, all right, you're so modest, but at the same time, you're very, like, paranoid about all this going away. So
there's
some insecurity there.
We've come to the end of our time together, Will. I could talk to you all afternoon.
I know.
And more about your penis
well, you say that. It's 11:30 in the evening here, thanks.
But tell people where they can find you on social media, and tell them your website, et cetera, and anything you have to sell.
It's very easy. My website is willnoonan.com, and all my stuff is there. All my social media connections are there, Facebook and Twitter. Twitter, Will Noonan. I had a couple CDs on iTunes that people can buy if they like. My podcast, Hypothetically, is on iTunes as well. That's free. I got a T-shirt for sale right now with this poem about smell that went viral on it. That's on my Twitter. But, just willnoonan.com is pretty much it. And they can check all my videos and stuff out there.
And where can people catch you live? Is all your live gigs? Yeah, we've not been invited on his podcast, Ty. We're not good enough for Will's podcast.
I do it alone. I do my podcast solo.
And I'm not a comedian, so
I just masturbate and talking to the mic.
Yeah, he does it solo.
I count the chickenpox scars and pleasure myself slowly.
Like dot to dot. Yeah, absolutely.
But I will be in Hartford, Connecticut next weekend at the City Steam Brewery, and then the weekend after that I'll be in New Haven, Connecticut at Joker's Wild Comedy Club, which is only a short drive from New York, about an hour or so.
Absolutely. So get your asses on down there, and make sure you go and support Will on social media, Facebook and Twitter. His links are all on the radio page for today and on the show page on Facebook, so make sure you go follow him. But for now, thanks so much for joining us, the fabulous, the funny, the big penis, Will Noonan.
Yeah, thank you guys. And Ty, it was great to talk to you, man. It was nice to to have a Scottish guy on the phone. It's just good.
Oh, he's not Scottish.
Well, he's a British guy in Scotland, but
I'm a British, but I live in Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But he's not Scottish.
But nice to talk to you, well, anyway.
He's in there making sure they never get independence. He's just keeping it.
No, I wanted them to get independence. I voted for independence.
Oh, that's a whole other episode of the podcast. We can.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go. Well, I subscribe to the podcast, so there you go.
There we go.
Absolutely. So thanks for joining us today, Will, and we hope you come back and join us again very soon.
My pleasure.
Take care,
I'll
man.
talk to you guys soon, man.
Thanks a lot.
Take care, man.
All right, bye. Take care.
That was the fabulous comedian Will Noonan. Make sure you check him out at www.willnoonan.com. And make sure you follow him on social media. Thanks to everyone who's made today's show possible. Thanks to the fabulous Tyhe, TP Egar, for co-hosting. Thanks to Will for dropping in. Don't forget, this week's show is sponsored by Computer Perfect, providers of Lightning, the #1 in point-of-sale service. And you can check them out at www.computerperfect.com. Thanks to you for listening and for your continued support. And from both Tyhe and myself, we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.